Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. We're here live doing the Red Devil recap. My name is Eric. Hope everybody is doing well. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. And what was a very bad performance by Manchester United. It was not a good performance in any way. Very dull, very boring game. We've managed to create something at the end of the match. We won the game. We got 3 points. So can't complain too much there, but the overall performance in which Manchester United played, the manner in which Manchester United played today, was very poor, wasn't good enough, frustrating to watch, boring, and, there's obviously negatives in today's game. There's obviously some positives we could probably take out of it as well. And we're going to get into all that. We're going to do live player ratings. We're going to break down the match, comments, opinions, thoughts from Manchester United fans, our wonderful community. Before we do that, please smash the like button because it helps the channel grow. So if you want to support us, that greatly helps us. So please make sure you smash that like button. And if you are new and you just found the channel and you enjoy the content, and you enjoy the community, and you want to get involved in the live chat, then make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we go live. We are live weekly and we are live after every single match. But we are live during the week as well, covering news and topical stuff around Manchester United. So without further ado, let's get back into the match at hand today. I think Manchester United today, the game plan, I don't think was good enough. I'm going to give a little bit of criticism to Ruben Amorim because I don't like the way we tried to play the match. And it was a clear instruction, clear idea coming from the manager, because we played the same way we did in the first half as we did in the second half. So I wasn't too fond of the way Ruben Amorim went about trying to... The game plan sort of set out for today's match. I don't like how we didn't move the ball quick enough today. We didn't push up as much as I wanted us to. Some of it was obviously poor execution by the players, because the players, they're on the pitch, they're playing the match. They obviously weren't managing the situation well on the pitch either. So, they're going to get criticism as well. But I'm looking at the match and we go from the first half and I'm like, listen, if I'm the manager, I'm going into the dressing room and I'm addressing the players, and I got to give them the message, and I got to tell them, you're moving the ball too slow. You're not high enough. You're not playing direct enough today. You need to push up higher. You need to get out of this pressure. We were falling into the trap of Fulham, who their shape is very, very good defensively. They're very structured. They're disciplined in that area. We didn't have a lot of space, so you can see the hesitation from the players, not knowing what to really do with the ball going forward. We struggled to create chances. We struggled with creativity, lack of an idea. And what was happening was, the only thing we could figure out is to retain possession of the ball, pass the ball backwards a lot, but try and retain possession and try and create something out of there. The problem is that Fulham was also very good at pressing, because we were very slow at moving the ball, which was just an ineffective game plan all around. So, I was very unhappy with that. And as I already said, we get to halftime and I'm sitting there thinking, well, if I'm the manager, I'm going in and I'm telling them, listen, you're moving the ball too slow. You're falling into the trap. You're not playing direct enough. You're not being creative enough going forward. You're going backwards. You're getting pressed, and you're not moving the ball quick enough to get out of the press and open up some space for us and create something going forward. So, it wasn't really a good game plan. I was disappointed in that aspect. And I've been kind of, I back Ruben Amorim, obviously. I've been on the lighter side of Ruben Amorim, but I think he gets a little bit more criticism today, just for the way he set up the game plan and the tactical aspect of today's match. I don't think it was very effective. The players weren't good in executing it at all either. And, now individually, and I guess as a team as well, you look at the whole aspect of the team and individual, nobody really did anything up until, the late period of the game where Lisandro scored a goal. but nobody really did anything. I mean, I went on Twitter because people were, big accounts for Manchester United, the aggregators, pointing out, Rasmus hasn't scored in 34 matches for Manchester United or something like that, whatever the record is. And I had to point out that, well, look at the team, and you explain to me how a team that plays like we did in the first half, how Rasmus or any striker, get Victor Gyökeres, get Osimhen, get, Harry Kane, whoever you want. You explain to me how a striker is going to score goals playing in the manner that the team is playing. It's not going to happen. I got a lot of responses to that saying, yeah, but Højlund is terrible. He can't head the ball. He can't hold the ball up. He can't pass the ball. And that's all fair. That's all fair. My comment was not about holding the ball up. My comment was not about, link up play. My comment was strictly due to goal scoring. And today's match was not a match for Rasmus Højlund because in the way the match was set up, but also in the manner of which we were playing. Rasmus Højlund's strong suit is not holding up the ball in link-up play. Rasmus Højlund's strong suit is either needs space to run onto the ball. I think he's good at breaking the lines. So you need space in behind, which wasn't there for him. Or he's got to be in and around the box area, and you got to provide service to him in and around the box. We weren't doing that either. So it wasn't a Rasmus Højlund day. Now, he was very poor holding the ball up. He was very poor, trying to any form of the link-up play. He was very, very poor. But I also already know that that's not his strong suit, and that Xerxes is much stronger in that aspect than Rasmus is. So I was even saying, if we're going to play like this, if we're not going to push up, if we're not going to be more direct, if we're not going to create more chances in and around the box, then you got to take Rasmus off because he's clearly struggling. He's not playing good. And, you need to... It's just not his game. It's not his game. You got to get Xerxes, and it's more... The match as a whole is more suited to Xerxes. So you got to do that aspect. And that's what he ended up doing anyway, which is where I give a little bit of credit to Ruben Amorim, because again, I think he came with 2 substitutions at the correct time. So he did attempt to manage the game. He did try to change it. And the game only changed later on at the end when we made a little bit more subs. COLLYER came on, affected the game, but Lisandro scoring the goal that he did. And if you don't shoot, you don't score. So Lisandro, again, he's been doing this for a couple matches now. Getting up in that area, and he's not afraid to have a go. And Lisandro has a very good shot on him, actually. I think so far, if I remember, there's been at least 3 times, and he scored twice now from it. And the third one was a very good shot. I think it was in the Rangers game. He did it again. He's taking those chances on. He's a player that has confidence. Lisandro Martinez is one that has character. He has attitude. He doesn't lack confidence in himself or his abilities. And you see that with how he plays on the pitch. Yes, he's shorter. He plays center back. He still goes up for challenges. I think you even see that in his character where, Adama Traore, I don't know if he made the tackle on him, but Ugarte goes down injured, and as soon as the play is over, Lisandro runs up to Adama Traore, who is obviously the biggest player on the pitch in terms of strength, runs straight up to him, pushes him, gets in his face, starts arguing with him, so he's not afraid, and he doesn't lack confidence in himself, which is why you see Martinez doing these things, and we need more players to do that. Ahmad was fairly quiet for today's match, but he got involved at the end, got the goal taken away from him, I think kind of harshly. That was very, very tight. VAR, getting involved, it is what it is. But let's get to the chat. Let's get to the community, because I want thoughts and opinions. I've gave a good piece of what I think, and I'll come back in with some thoughts and opinions. But let's get to the chat. Let's see what the chat is saying. And then we'll do some live player ratings. We'll do some quotes. And we'll see how everything goes. So, Axe Lord here, Richard is here, Ray is here. Axe saying, to be honest, the win is undeserved. They didn't control the game at all. We were lucky with Martinez's shot, and Collier saved us from a goal. Well, you're not wrong, Axe. And I would probably say the same thing. I mean, we didn't play in a manner that we didn't dominate the match. We didn't really do enough going forward. But I would also say, in trying to take some positivity out of the game, that, you know, sometimes that's just football. Sometimes you win a match you don't really deserve. Sometimes you get a result with a little bit of luck. You've managed to stick into the game, right? You stayed in the game. It was 0-0 for large parts. You know, by no means, well, I think anybody is saying Manchester United had a good performance today. I don't think anybody's saying Manchester United, you know, played so good that we deserve to win that match. And in fact, if we didn't score the goal and we drew or we lost, you know, the talk around, you know, the end of the match would be quite different. It would be a lot of anger, a lot of disappointment, a lot of frustration. So it makes sense. But at the same time, if you try to look at it from a positive side, you know, we did manage the game in terms of that we stayed in the game. We did enough where we didn't concede. Collier did a good defensive action to save us. Goal line clearance. Little bit of luck. Little bit of good play from the players. Lisandro, you know, took the shot, and you need to take that shot, and he got lucky. Deflection, but you need a little bit of luck. And, you know, the team stayed in the game, and we found a way to get 3 points. I think that's the most kind of important thing that I'm taking away from today, from a positive aspect, is that we didn't play great. We didn't do enough. It was a poor performance, and I'm unhappy with the performance as a whole from a team dynamic. But at the same time, while we performed like that, we still managed to somehow get over the line and get 3 points, which is what you need in certain situations, because football is football. You don't go, you know, unless you're absolutely hitting the peak and you are, you know, the best team in all of Europe. There are going to be matches where you're going to go into the match, you're not going to play your best. You're not going to play great. But even teams that, you know, they fight for the title, you know, even when they go into a match and they play like shit, they manage to they manage to somehow get it over the line, even though they don't deserve it. So I'll give the team credit in that aspect. We've managed to get 3 points, and 3 points, you know, is the all important. But of course, we can criticize because, you know, today wasn't a good performance by any of the players individually or really as a team. In the attacking sense, I think the defense did all right. I think we were a little bit fortunate as well that Fulham, you know, they did good to create chances, but their final product is a little bit non-existent, like our final product is. You know, but I think the defense did all right. I think the defense did enough to put Fulham off, and we got a clean sheet as well. So, you know, can't really complain too much there. Ray says, we are a shamble team. I'm still waiting for a good performance. Well, listen, I've been thinking about this, and I was talking to my friend yesterday, who's an Arsenal fan. Not Chong. I got another friend that's an Arsenal fan. And, you know, and one of my friends that's a United fan was in there as well. And really, the way I kind of look at it is, you know, we started the season poor. It wasn't a good start to the season. The team was already in a sort of disarray, underperforming, playing bad. And Ruben Amorim comes in, middle of the season, no preseason, not enough time on the training pitch with the players, playing 3 matches a week, playing a completely different style and system to basically, you know, how the team was set up and to what the players are used to. And I kind of look at the whole picture right now, the big picture, as you know, I think we're going to, until we find our feet, we're going to struggle for this season. I expect a stronger start to next season. I expect a stronger cohesion in the team next season. I think one of the things that Ruben Amorim really has to do is that he has to make sure and he has to prepare the team as good as possible for the start of next season. I think the preseason is very important, and I think he has to take that opportunity to make Manchester United as strong as possible. Um, one of my things that I want to see is that Manchester United must be further ahead in the football that they are currently playing. We cannot be the way we are now 8 months time, and I don't expect us to. So that's really where I'm looking at. I think right now, I think it's obvious we're going to struggle because we're learning to play a new system and a new style of play. And you're adding that to a team that was already struggling prior to putting that on top of the team. So I'm okay sort of with this period of, it's really a trial and error period where we're going to play matches where we play like shit. We're going to play matches where we play better and we look a little bit better. We're going to take a step forward. We might take 2 steps back. We might take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what this season is. But we got to try and do the best as we can. I don't think in any form of way we're going to find necessarily perfection. So like Ray is saying, I'm still waiting for a good performance. Listen, we've had 1 or 2 good performances, but it's not on a consistent basis. It's not on the consistent basis that we want it to be and that it needs to be. And I think that will come later down the line. But it is a work in progress, and we need to take it match by match. But today, just looking at today, it wasn't a good performance. So Axe says, I blame the manager. Bruno couldn't have played his game playing a CM instead of Cam. Garnacho and Ahmad played as bad as Cam's. They are much more suitable as a winger. Hoyland played badly as a RE as a result. Well, this is what I'm saying. I think the game plan, the match plan, really wasn't set up too good by Ruben Amorim today, so I give him a little bit of criticism for that today. I don't think he necessarily got it right, and there was probably a couple things you could have done to change. Listen, I don't blame him for having a go in the way he went by dropping Bruno deeper. We've discussed that. That's been floated around Manchester United and in the fan base, saying that maybe Bruno should drop deeper. He went for it. It didn't really work out. And I also don't really like the game plan of how we were going for the long ball. I didn't really like that either. But, I don't think that's a normal thing that we've been trying to do anyway. I think he tried to do something different in terms of the way Fulham play. We're away from home. He went for a game plan. And you know what? Even though it wasn't great, it wasn't good to watch, we still managed to somehow get a win. So it wasn't the worst thing, because somehow we stayed in the game. Somehow we managed to get 3 points. So, it could have been worse. We could have showed up and lost 3-0 away from home. So it wasn't that bad of a manner, but it just wasn't good enough. We obviously want better, and rightfully so. We should be asking for better, because it just wasn't a good result, wasn't a good performance in any way. Ray says, I don't see a system so far. We have a bunch of players that don't complement each other. Well, having a bunch of players that don't complement each other is different than not having a system, in my opinion. You could have a system, and the system comes from the manager, and the system is, what the manager sets up the team to play. But if you have a bunch of players that don't fit the system and they don't complement each other, those are two different things for me. Obviously they go together, because you need players that complement each other and that fit the system for the system to work. So I think the idea and the system and the thought from Ruben Amorim is there. I think it's clear. I think we know exactly what he wants to do. I think we know exactly what he's trying to get out of the team, but I don't think the execution from the player's side is there. So, today we didn't play in a way that you would say is Ruben Amorim football. We played a little bit different today. We played a little bit more, I guess, trying to manage the game against Fulham and the way Fulham play. And you could tell the football was, listen, we've had some bad performances we've had some bad results, but the football was different in terms of the idea of trying to create. It was different than it normally was. So, you know. Lion says we were outplayed in the oh, you guys are talking about something else. I thought you were talking about the game. Ray says it is very hard to watch the game at this time, but I keep hoping and dreaming. Well, listen, I just think it's a work in progress. I think it will come. I think it will happen. But again, you have to look at the thing, and for me, in my opinion, you have to look at it as a whole, as a big picture. And the circumstances that surround this club. I think when you combine all the layers on top of each other, it's not a surprise, and that this back and forth kind of struggle that we are going through, where we get a good result and we make a good performance, then we play like shit, then we don't play good, but we get a win. Then we don't play good and we lose. I think it's fairly obvious that these things are going to happen when you look at the bigger picture surrounding Manchester United and the manager and the situation. And the only thing that's going to turn in some consistency for good performances is time. We need time. It's so early for Ruben Amorim in the grand scheme of things. And in a way, I think, there's many fans out there that are very impatient, and I get it, in a certain aspect, but and I'm not saying that you should lower your expectations or your demands. Keep them, but just keep in the back of your mind that this is going to take time. Whether you like it or not, it's going to take time, and he obviously hasn't gotten. The time has not passed yet for the manager. He's literally in the middle of the process of doing things that needs to be done. So I'm not worried yet. I will criticize because I want them to do better and they need to do better. But I'm not worried in any way as of right now, because I expect the growth to come as we progress through the rest of the season, and then I expect a much stronger display and performance from the team going into next season when the next season starts. If we don't look like we've made any progress from now to when the next season starts, then I'm going to be worried. But as of right now, I can't be too worried. In the way that it is. Lion says, we took our chance, they didn't, so we deserve to win. Simple. And that's football sometimes. Listen, sometimes you play a match, there's two teams that play, one team dominates the other, right? And they don't take their chance, they don't finish their dinner, and the other team scores a one-off goal, and the other team wins the match. Did they deserve it? No. But it happens. It's football. It's literally part of the game. And, I'll take the 3 points for today. Why not? We could criticize the performance. We can criticize, the players and the team. But, we can add in some positivity that we've managed to somehow get 3 points playing like shit. And that's good because we wanted 3 points. We wanted a win. And I'm going to take that. Grace is here saying title charge. Here we go. Jeff Hutchinson saying defending set pieces was a lot better. And I'm glad you pointed that out because that is an aspect that seems like is improving. If you want to look at to try and take some positivity somewhere in the team, I think defending set pieces is looking better. And I think even us trying to score from set pieces, most notably corners, I think has improved. I think we look a little bit more dangerous from a corner that we're attacking, and the defending has been better as well. So that aspect has strengthened for sure, and I'm looking to see if we can improve even further from the attacking corners, and maybe we start scoring a little bit more goals because Manchester United haven't scored from set pieces and corners in over 2 managers, not counting Ruben Amorim, in over 2 managers. So if we could get that aspect, that's obviously going to help the team because it'll help us score more goals, and it'll help us, in the game. So, that's a good point by Jeff. Good point. Ray says, I agree, Richard. Toby Cole. Oh, I missed Richard's comment. Richard said, well, the man of the match went to Martinez, but I'm giving it to Toby Collier. And that's fair enough. I mean, they both had actions that I would say helped United win the game. Lisandro probably gets it because Lisandro played 20 minutes and he had more actions in the game than Collier did. But obviously, Toby Collier literally helped save 3 points, whether he played 2 minutes or 89 minutes. He had an action that literally saved Manchester United, the 2 points, because if he doesn't clear that ball off the line, that's a goal. And Manchester United probably don't end up, scoring another, and we tied that match and we dropped 2 points instead of getting the full 3. So, fair enough. X says, we are Man United. We ought to dictate the game and fighting for the title. Both these things are impossible with our current playing style. But Axe, I mean, fair enough. You have standards and saying that we ought to dictate the game and fight for the title. Where has that been for the past 12 years? Where have we done that under the past 12 years and under any manager? So. That would be my response to that. I agree with you. We are Man United and we should dictate the game and fight for the title 100%. But where have we done that for 12 years? We have a large problem at the club as a whole. From the hierarchy to the players to the manager to the coaching staff to the way we do transfer business. Where has that been done? In the past 12 years, we haven't done. So we need to figure it out. We need to figure it out. Lion says, I really need to rethink my friend group. No, I like it. You know why? It adds a little bit of spiciness. It adds a little bit of excitement. I like debate, obviously. I like the sharing of opinions. I like a little bit of arguing. I like a little bit of back and forth. So, it's good to have... I like the banter as well. It's good to have some, Liverpool fans as friends, Arsenal, Chelsea. Right now it's rough because we're shit compared to them. But, it's good. If they do bad, you banter them. It's good. It adds a little bit of excitement to life. A little bit of back and forth has never hurt nobody. And Lions pointing out, we haven't been Man United in years, mate. You need a reality check. And that's kind of what I'm saying to that point. Like, you make that point and you're not wrong in that, the standards for Manchester United, we should dictate the game and fight for the title. We absolutely should. But if you're putting that towards Ruben Amorim's fault and his playing style and his system, I don't think that checks in any way because we haven't done that in 12 years. How many managers has that been? So there's clearly and obviously a bigger issue. And yeah. And Lion saying we're playing at the Cottage against Fulham. And Lyle is here as well. Lyle, how you doing, buddy? Give us some thoughts and opinions on the match. But Lion saying we are playing at the Cottage against Fulham, and they were in decent form. Sure, it wasn't pretty, and it won't be remembered as a great match, but you know what? Budget, we won. And I think that's kind of, listen, it's fine. We criticize the performance, we criticize the match, and things from the manager and whatever. But overall picture, Fulham are literally in the same place we are. So in terms of the season, it was 2 evenly matched teams based off of performances and results. The match certainly played out in that manner. It wasn't a great performance by United. It's a fairly low standard compared to the Manchester United that we know under Sir Alex Ferguson. But we haven't been that Manchester United for 12 years. So that's not really the point. The point is that, again, I still believe in this manager. I think he's going to figure it out. And I think the team will progress and grow as we go on. But I do understand that we're pretty much driving on a bumpy road with a flat tire right now. We're still moving. We're still making progress. in certain aspects. It's just not great progress, and it's not efficient as of right now. So again, my mind has already gone for the league. My mind has already gone to next season. We're doing good in Europa. He's improved the performances and the results in Europa, which I think is a positive for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. We've managed to put ourselves in a position where we don't have to play extra matches, so that's good. We've improved our result or our standing in the Europa League table, which is good and is a positive. So there's that aspect. We're still in the FA Cup, which is good in that aspect. And I think the league, we need to just, listen, we're far off fourth. We're far off a sixth. It ain't really going to happen. When you look at the points, we ain't going to make it up. So the league is kind of shot. The only thing I look at the league for is to try and figure out the playing style, the performances, the identity of the team, and try and get 3 points as much as possible along the way. Although it's not really going to amount to nothing, but just make us look a little bit stronger in the league position. But it don't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, because it's not going to get us. It's not going to get us to sixth. It's not going to get us to fourth. It's not going to happen. So, today was one of those matches where it wasn't great. We got to win, so we could be happy with that. But we need to look for, the next match for a better performance and a better team performance overall. Lion says the Martinez stamp would fit perfectly in the 80s Wimbledon crazy gang team. I think one thinks he's been watching Vinnie Jones clips on YouTube. Richard says, I also like Toby's energy, and I think that's what Amorim wants. I do agree that, Toby has great energy. He has great effort, and I think he mixes that in with, he has that potential for his ability that he needs to kind of work on. He might almost be a McTominay 2.0 in terms of that he's 21. He's sort of a late bloomer in an aspect, right? Because, there's players like Manu and Garnacho that have come into the team and have established themselves at a much younger age, much quicker. And he's kind of breaking in now at 21. Although I think he might be a little bit more skilled and offer a little bit more than Scott McTominay. And he certainly seems like a bigger presence in that midfield spot than Scott McTominay would. But I do agree, Richard, that I like his energy. I like what he's been bringing to the pitch lately, since he's been, getting on it, whether that's as a substitute or starting. He's been bringing good dynamic and good aspect. So that's a positive in the squad as well. That seems like, we have a player that's coming in that's going to add to the squad. And I do think as well that, that's what Amorim wants. And I know that's what Amorim wants because Amorim has said it multiple times in multiple press conferences. He spoke on Casemiro the other day, talking about, they asked Casemiro hasn't played for like 13, 14, 15 matches, and what's up with that. And he pretty much said something about the characteristics of the player, which translated to me like, Casemiro don't got legs. I need legs in my team. You need to run, because he compared it to another player. And I was like, well, when you compare those two players, the obvious and clear difference is one is younger, one is more mobile, one can run around, the other one can't. So, he's been saying this for quite some time now, in terms of what he expects from the players and what he wants from the players. So, Lyle says, I saw the ball go in, and Collier stepped in there like an old school midfielder and had on his back, correctly defended his near post. Well, it was an absolutely brilliant, piece of action from Toby Collier, and definitely deserves credit because he definitely saved us some points there, and saved the game for us. So, Jeff Hutchinson pointing out the next 4 fixtures are Palace, Spurs, Everton, and Ipswich, all winnable. And I definitely agree with you there, Jeff. Those are definitely all winnable. They're all around teams that are, for the most part, in and around of where we are in terms of the league table. I mean, Tottenham have been rightfully shit. They're under us. We're above them. We should look to get back some revenge. We're playing home for revenge for what they did to us in the beginning of the season. So I would look to, beat Spurs. Are we playing Spurs away? I thought we were home. No, no, no. I mean, we were home. They beat us when we were home. So we're playing Spurs away. Sorry. Palace again is a team that's about on the same points as us. So, you know, in terms of the performance and the results this season, they're on pretty much the same level as us. So it should be a match that we can win. And you know, we're home, so we should win that match. Everton getting a little bit of bounce from David Moyes. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult match than it probably normally should, because they're on the bounce, and they've been doing well since David Moyes has taken over. So I think that one's going to be a little bit more difficult, but there's no reason why we can't win that match either. And then there's Ipswich, who are a team that I think play pretty good attacking football, but they just don't have the quality, and they lose many matches, and they're in the relegation zone, so we should be winning that game as well. So I do agree. Let's see how many points we get out of that, and how many good performances we can get out of that. And it should be I mean, it should be a good little period of performances. So Richard says, yeah, Lion, and don't forget, Eric, can always ask him who is the team that stopped the Invincibles getting 50 in a row. Richard says, let's all laugh at Tottenham and take the attention away from us. I mean, we could always do that as well. Lyle says it was a tactical stalemate, and luck would win the game. And for us, luck was on our side tonight. This boosts us for that Europa game, which is a must-win to ensure top 8. Well, absolutely. And then sometimes you need, you know, sometimes you need luck. Sometimes you need some luck. That's literally part of football. Today was a match that I agree it was boring because it was pretty much a stalemate from both sides. We weren't great. I don't think Fulham were that great either. You know, there was a little bit of exposure where they were able to create more chances than us, and that's because of the way our shape was set up compared to their shape, and a little bit of the game plan, but they weren't great either. And we had a little bit of luck on our side, and we won the match. Axlord is playing sack, fire, kill, and says Amorim sacked, Ineos fired, and Glazers killed. Lyle says if we finish 8th, it's fine. I mean, for what it is this season, yeah. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, we don't want to be finishing 8th. But, I mean, you look at the table, you look at the points, you look at the situation that we're in as a whole, as a club, kind of the mess that has gone on this season, in that we started off very poor. We had a manager. We sacked the manager. We got a new manager. The new manager plays a different way. Different style. That's always like, let's take it this way, and this is how I'm looking at it. If you bring Ruben Amorim in the summer, right, and we started off next season and we struggled, you know, we would be saying the same thing as, well, it's his first season. You got to give them some time to learn the new system, the new formation. Maybe he doesn't have enough of the players to fit the system. I mean, that's true right now. But if he just came in the summer and started then, and it's, you know, the beginning of his season right there, everybody's going to be like, for the most part, well, we got to give him at least a year. You know, he probably needs 2 seasons. It takes a little bit to get that under control, as you see with most playing styles and most managers. Pep, Klopp, Arteta, whoever else, even Emery at Villa, you know, whatever it is, any team, it takes time. But you're taking that situation and shoving it into the middle of a season, and putting it on top of a team that was already playing like shit, was already struggling, was already suffering, was already just very underperforming, very lackluster. So when you combine those two aspects, it's obvious as to why we are the way we are. We play the way we do right now, and we're in the situation that we're in. So, you know, Richard says, I would take a chance in a lesser game, play Bruno deep and play Kobe more forward. Well, that is the next step I think that he should look to do, is to play Kobe Mainu where he was playing Garnacho or Diallo. I think part of the problem and issue is that is if you look, you know, they are supposed to be maybe more centrally behind the striker, but there's many times where they both end up wide as well, which is why he kind of plays those the wingers, traditional wingers. That's why he plays those wingers there, which it's a give and take. So I think Kobe centrally would play better there, and I think he would be good there. The issue would then be because it's obvious that they need to go out wide and inside at certain different moments, and the issue would be when Kobe has to go outside on the wing. Can he necessarily operate there and do that job? I don't know, but I would still give it a go, and I would still like to see, and I would still like to see it. Richard says the only problem I have at the moment is that Wheatley and Obi Martin are going out on loan, so if we sell Garnacho, we are short up front. Yeah, I mean, maybe they have a plan for that. They're looking to possibly maybe get Nkunku on loan, as what I'm seeing. Which I'm not against. I know that they've put out that United wanted to do deals that are permanent, and they didn't really want to do loans. I kind of think that's a little bit of it sounds nice on paper. It sounds like you're trying to be strong, but I actually think that they should mix it up. Because January is already difficult to do permanent deals as it is, as we see and as we know. But I think they should look to do both. I mean, I don't think it hurts the team to do 1 or 2 permanent deals and you get maybe 2 loan players in. That's 4 players. Yeah, 2 are temporary, but it's still going to help us out in this current situation this season. And also, if depending on the player it is, you could always do a deal where it's like maybe a loan with an option to buy. That way, if you like the player and the player plays well, you can then just buy them in the summer when you get there. So, again, though, I think that those kids, they should go out on loan. I think Obi should probably go out on loan because they're probably not further along. They're not going to get time to, the time that they sort of need. I'm always here for if they're not in and around the team and you're not really going to give them chances, then loan them out and let them get some valuable playing experience. So, Lyle says, I would take 8th Europa and FA Cup at this point, force ourselves into the UCL, much like we did for the UEL, and stick it to the Gunners by tying them for FA Cup wins. I mean, yeah. As you're saying, Lyle, that's for this specific season, for the situation that we're in, that is the best. That is the best scenario we got. Whether you like it or not, whether you think that's piss poor in United standards, that's kind of a little bit different. But in reality, when you look at the situation we're in, that's the best we got for this season. And you can criticize and say that that's shit and whatever, and that's fine. We understand that. But looking at what we can actually do for the remaining of the season, whether it's not good enough in United standards or not, the best that we can do is what Lyle just explained, which is, 8th or as high as possible. Europa, you would like to win it, but try and go as far as possible. And FA Cup, you want to win it, go as far as possible. And that would put us in the UCL. That is the best scenario that we got for the remainder of the season. So, Axe says they humiliated us in our last match. Ooh. Oh, you're talking about Spurs? Yes, yes, and that was under Eric Ten Hag. Let him go. He's too. Yeah, loan spell is good. And Anthony is gone. Well, temporarily anyway. He's at Real Betis. And he'll be back in the summer, and he'll probably go again. But hopefully he plays well. Hopefully Anthony plays very good. Hopefully, we've talked about this a couple times. Hopefully the Spanish football suits him beautifully. and he, he starts performing. I mean, I don't think he could perform worse than he's performed at United. So hopefully he performs better. Hopefully he looks good. And maybe there's some more Spanish sides that will be interested and not just Real Betis for the summer, and we'll be able to sell him and move him on. Noah Theodore's saying, big up Red Devil Experience, the legend. Thank you, Noah. Big up yourself. Appreciate the love. Lyle saying, I can't find the article, but if so, then okay, I would have imagined Obi to make an appearance during this season for him. I know what you're talking about, because they said that he was one that he wasn't supposed to be, or the plan wasn't necessarily for him to stay in the reserves for that long. They wanted to bring him into the youth, the reserves, for a period of time to get adjusted. And that there was a plan to kind of include him into the squad. But maybe, that was just an estimate. Now they've gotten a closer look at him. They've been evaluating his performances as he's gone on. And maybe they've deemed the best course of action is give him maybe loan him. So he could get, it's sort of a middle ground. He's too good for the youth. He's too good for the reserves. But, maybe he's just not ready to go into the Premier League Manchester United first team, and therefore you find a middle ground, loan him out so he actually plays professional football, and he's not being wasted in the reserves, and he's not being it's not too much of a big step up. But let's do, Lion says, but as much as I love Wheatley, a loan would suit him more also. And I think so. I'm not going to discredit Wheatley in any way. I don't watch the youth enough like that. I don't watch the reserve games and stuff, so I can't analyze in that aspect. But from what I've seen from him when he's gotten little cameos in the first team, I think he's just not there. He needs more development, so I would love for him to get a loan. In no way will I give up on him. He's still young enough. I think he needs to grow more. And whatever we got to do to help him do that, which I think loan is very good, then let's do that. Axel, are we 100% qualified for the next European match? Can they afford to play youngsters against Steaua? I think we're qualified, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that if we don't win, we may possibly get pulled out of the top 8, which would make us. I'm actually looking to check right now, because I know it put us higher. I just don't know exactly where it put us higher. So we are in 4th in the Europa League and 15 points. Yeah, so we can't afford to really do that, Axe. What we can do, Axe, is if we go into the match and we go up maybe 3-0 or something, and then we could sub in some youngsters. But we actually need to win that match if you want to avoid playing playoff matches and being inside the top 8, because we have 15 points. 8th place has 14 points, and then there's 9th place has 13, 10th place has 13th, and 11 and 12th have 15. So you don't want to leave that up to goal difference or whatever it is. So yeah, we can't really afford to just just throw in the youth like that, unfortunately. But I know what you're thinking, but yeah, so we probably got to start strong, secure the win to make sure that, we don't play these extra matches and we get a better positioning. I mean, even if United win and maybe Frankfurt and Athletic lose, we could finish 2nd in the Europa League, which is pretty good considering where we started off in the beginning of the campaign, and we were very low. So, yeah. Lion says Anthony is going to be amazing in Spain, just like it suited Forlan. The Premier League is not for everyone. Well, that is true. That the Premier League is not for everyone. Noah Theodorus says, I have to give credit to Martinez and Collier. Absolutely. They did a great performance, and Martinez deserved to be player of the match. What a goal. Yeah, and that's kind of where it's been split. Richard Noah gave it to Collier because of the defensive action that he had, and it did save us. And other people give it to Lisandro. We're gonna do player ratings in just a second. And Lions pointing out we need to win to avoid playoffs. And Lyle says no, a draw or a win is a must. Yes, we need to win a draw. Win will make it easier, of course. Wins make everything easier. And Rochdale, do we have to play Rochdale? And so is Nippon going to City. It seems like that. That's what I've heard. But, until it's confirmed, we got to wait and see. So let's do live player ratings real quick. Because this show can't go on for too long. So we'll do them together. Like we always try to do. So Onana, I give him a 6. I don't think he had much to do today. You could argue give him a 6.5 just for the fact that he got a clean sheet. Didn't have much to do. Did all right when he needed to do it. Didn't concede a goal. So, nothing for me to really argue with there from Andre Onana. Nothing to really criticize on Andre Onana. No mistakes today, which is good. And wasn't not much to really talk about for Andre Onana. So 6.5 for me. Delit. Delit 6. I think average performance by the center backs. Again, you could give him maybe a 6.5 for the fact that they've gotten a clean sheet today. But I think it was a pretty much average performance by the defenders, by the center back. Same thing for Harry Maguire. I give him the same. The only one that's obviously going to get a higher score is Lisandro because he scored a goal. So I'm going to give him a 7. Richard's given a 6 for Delit. Grace is given Delo a 10, which we all knew was coming. Grace, start thinking of it now because we're going to need the secret comment for the end of the show. And you've been tasked with doing this since you come up with such good ones. So hold on to that. But we need you, Grace. Richard says 6 for Delit. Lisandro he's given a 7 and he's given Delo a 1. Well, Diego Delo, I will give Delo a 6. Average performance again. Obviously Grace is going to kill us all because we didn't give him 10. But Richard real score is given Delo a 6. I think that's fair. For the defense, it's been pretty average across the whole. Except for Lisandro because he scored the game winner. Lyle's given Delo a -10. I think that's the lowest score anybody's ever gotten. Grace says you're all blind. Grace, you know that we're blind, so how can we help it? We've been blind for matches now. So unless you got a cure to fix my blindness, what are you gonna do? Lyle says 6 is fair. And Ray says Delo, he's giving him a 0.5. I think we're just all bantering Grace now. So yeah. Ugarte, I'd probably give him a 6. I think there was moments in the match where in the middle of the field he was getting easily beat. The center was getting kind of a little bit cut open, but then I think there was also times in the match where he was good in stopping play, making life difficult, battling, bodying. So to me, it was kind of a little 50-50 today. So I kind of give him a 6 for averageness, and then he obviously got substituted as well. I think for Bruno today, wasn't that good of a performance. I'd give him a 5. Wasn't his best game. Didn't really get involved or play in the way that I wanted him to. Passing was off today. Wasn't as good as he was in previous games. So, and Grace is deleting all the messages about Delo. Well, you know what? You can't delete my message because my message is through my mouth. Grace saying I have an agenda against all of you. You are my enemies. That's fine. We'll go to war about it, Grace. Lyle says Maz and Delo played better as wingbacks today, but Fulham didn't really offer match. Well, you know what? I do have to give credit to Delo though as well, because I'm thinking about it. And you know, Delo being put back on the right, and I think he looked much better there, which we've been saying that for quite some time now. So he's definitely more comfortable on the right. And obviously they switched back later on, but for the time that he was on the right and that he played on the right, you know, Fulham were coming down that side heavy. There was a lot of action on that side, and I think Delo did good enough to kind of handle, you know, when you think about how much the game was coming down that side, I think Delo did good enough to handle what was going on down that side. So, and fair enough, Grace. Touche. She could put me on mute. You absolutely can. You figured that one out. You beat me on that one. I got nothing to come back to that. But yeah, I think Delo did better than he's been doing on the left hand side today. So and then obviously got switched onto the left. And Maz went to the right, and I think that was probably for Adama Traore. Sheikh, because he went over there, and Iwobi went to the right. So is Ugarte fit enough? I don't think he is. Lions, I don't think he is. It's a good point that you're making. I don't think he is, because Ruben Amorim was asked about this a couple matches ago. You know, and Ruben Amorim answer was, you know, he will learn to be able to play. Basically saying that he's not fit enough to play 3 matches per week right now. His fitness needs to improve, but you know, he will learn. He said his quote was, he will learn to play 3 matches a week, which is him saying that his fitness levels will improve over time, and he will be able to play 3 matches a week. But as of right now, it's just not there. So, you know, I don't think Ugarte is fit enough, which is an issue that I've been saying, that we cannot, we actually need COLLYER, and actually need to use COLLYER, whether COLLYER is actually ready or not, which is why I think COLLYER, what he's been doing so far has been very encouraging and very positive, and I'm very happy for him, because we can't play Ugarte and Meno every single match 3 times a week for 90 minutes. Casemiro don't got the legs, so I don't trust him anymore. Eriksen, you can, you know, maybe try and play him there, but he don't got the legs, which I think is why you've seen Bruno was dropped deeper today. And I think that was for rotation. I don't think Ruben Amorim was trying to be cool tactically. I don't think he was trying to be smart in any way about that. I think solely it was the fact that we are lacking depth in terms of what Ruben Amorim needs and demands for his system in the midfield. You know, you can't play Meno every match like that for that amount of minutes. You can't play Ugarte every match for that amount of minutes. We're going to have to do rotation. Casemiro don't got the legs, so he's not helpful. So in my eyes, what we have for those 2 midfielder positions is we have Kobe Menu, Ugarte, COLLYER, and then Bruno Fernandes occasionally, because you could switch him around. Because Bruno, he might not play particularly well there, but Bruno has the energy and the legs to run around like a, you know, a duck without a head, or a chicken without a head. But Cass don't got that, and Eriksen don't got that. They don't have the legs, so they don't have the requirements to meet the demands of the system. So, this is what I was saying, that we need to look for another midfielder as well, because we have 2 players that are technically on the bench that are not useful to us, and don't really have much to offer. Now, you know, Eriksen, can you play him where Diallo or Garnacho were playing? I mean, he played him there last time. He had a play and a hand in the goal that Diallo scored, you know, in that match. And he can probably play there technical ability wise. I think Eriksen can play there. But again, there's still that issue of those 2 players that sit behind the striker. Sometimes they're central, but sometimes they end up out wide on the wing. And Eriksen don't got the legs to be going out on the wing and making stuff happen from the wing. So we just don't have the correct profile Mount would be very excellent, and Mount would be very good if Mount was available and not injury prone. Mount would fit that spot, and that's why Ruben Amorim seemed like he likes him very much and favors him very much, because Mount can play centrally and he can assist out from the wing. Gray says, I can't hear you, but your lips are moving. Let's pretend you're being positive, Polly. I actually was, Gray. So you should have had it. You should have had it unmuted at that point, because I was actually giving Delo credit and praising him. So you missed it. And now you're gonna have to go back and rewatch it just to get to that point. So, Ray says my mute button don't work. Well, that's good, I guess. Richard says his mute doesn't work. The wife keeps talking. Axe says yes. Delo is very handsome, the hottest player since Beckham. Lion says, I'm guessing your wife can't see what you're typing, Richard. No, I don't think she can, Lions. But yes, back to the player rating. So Bruno Fernandes, I've given him a 5. What do you guys give him? Type away. Make sure you put the player's name, because as I'm going, I'm probably going to be ahead. So just write Bruno and give a number. Maz, I'll give him a 6. I think all the defense was pretty average today. And they did it right. Grace gives Bruno a -10. Fair enough. Agenda FC creeping in. But hey, Bruno did good in the Rangers match. So there's that. Amad Diallo. I'm gonna be honest. Richard says 5.5 for Bruno because he didn't make a few key passes. Bruno 5, and Lion says Bruno 5 is fair. Maz, I give him a 6 because I gave the whole defense a 6. I think the defense, they got a clean sheet. They were pretty average in their performance. Wasn't anything spectacular. Wasn't anything that was trash. So defense all across the board except for Lisandro because he scored and helped us win 3 points. He obviously gets the higher score. But Ahmad, Richard says 5 for Ahmad, and I kind of agree. I don't think he did enough. And in pretty much all the attacking players, Garnacho, I'd give him kind of the same score, 5. I just think all across the board they weren't very good. Rasmus, I'm gonna give him a 4 today because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, it's one thing if we want to argue goal scoring, right? And we want to argue, I think there's 2 aspects to it. I think Rasmus was very bad, quite obviously, with holding up the play, link-up play, holding up the ball, winning the ball in terms of the battling with the center-backs and the defenders. Couldn't make a pass, couldn't just was very bad in that aspect, and that's why he's getting a 4. What I won't add into it is that, that he hasn't scored today, because the way the team played, again, you could grab Ruud van Nistelrooy in his prime and put him in striker today, and he's not scoring either because we didn't create shit and we didn't do enough going forward. So I don't know how you want the striker to score when we play like we did today in an attacking output. You could grab literally any. You could grab any player and they wouldn't have scored today. For the amount of time that Rasmus was on the pitch, they wouldn't have scored today. Because we just don't create enough in the attacking wise. And I think Rasmus Højlund, listen, you want to argue, his hold-up play is not good enough, that's fine. I'm there with you on that. I'm not saying that he is good at that, but I'm saying that I know Rasmus's strength is to be in and around the box, and I know he can finish if the ball is given to him in and around the box. I know he will finish the ball. Also, for matches where there's a lot of space in behind, and the teams aren't that defensive, I think he plays well there as well, because I think if you give him some nice through balls to run into, and he has space where he can step on the defensive line and he's looking to break the lines constantly, I think he excels there. I think those are his strengths. But when we don't play in matches that are gonna that suit his strength, then obviously he's gonna struggle. So then don't play him. Play Xerxes instead. Or try to play in a manner that plays to our current striker's ability. You know. So but Richard gave Ahmad a 5. Lion gave Ahmad a 5. Richard saying Ahmad looked off it today. Well, I think the whole attacking aspect was off. Gray says, I thought Ahmad was our savior. Well, he certainly has been. But today he just, I mean, he scored, right? But it was offsides. So, you know, I think that last sort of 5 or 10 minutes, again, you saw United sort of kind of wake up a little bit more like we've done in the past again. But the overall performance in the whole just wasn't good enough. But that last like 5 minutes, they seemed a little bit better. They seemed a little bit more confident, and we actually scored, but the goal was offsides, unfortunately for Ahmad. But you know, that boy is going to have a burnout. Well, we kind of do that with every player, right? I mean, look at Garnacho last season, where he was highly influential in many games, and we were relying heavily on him. We were relying heavily on Manu, and that's because the team as a whole isn't good enough, so we rely on 1 or 2 individuals to basically carry the team. And at some point, it's just not sustainable to do that for as long as, you know, people probably demand. At some point, they're gonna dip in form. They're gonna dip in performance. They're gonna get maybe, you know, overused, so it leads to burnout. So you know, that's why you need the team to do well. Gray says my garden fence has better hold up in a storm than Højlund does. Well, the thing is, like, I mean, that's fair enough. But, like, there has been some matches where I've seen him do all right in that aspect. I remember last season I gave him credit in multiple games for holding the ball up well, for having good link-up play. So I don't know where that's gone for Rasmus. Because he's clearly not doing it, and it's clearly very bad, and it's clearly awful, and it clearly ain't good enough. I just don't understand where that part has gone, because I've seen him do it before, but he's just not doing it. So it's just like it's almost been erased from his game completely, like he's never had it, which I know isn't true, because I've seen him do it before on multiple occasions. So I don't really understand what's going on with that aspect. But yeah, it's just really non-existent for him. And it just wasn't it wasn't the game for him today. And you know, I was saying pull him out at halftime because I just knew that it wasn't going to work for him today in any sort of way. So Axe says Højlund needs more support, more crosses the team needs to create for him. I do agree with that, because I think that's where that's what his strengths are as a striker, Axe. I think if you say compare Xerxes to Højlund, I think Xerxes is a player that you can play where he can drop deep, hold the ball, doesn't really need to be, you know, in and around the box. He can help with the link-up play, and it helped the team create chances. But I think Højlund is much stronger for that, in the manner that we need to play, in the fact that he needs to be given more support in and around the box. There needs to be more crosses coming in to him while he's in and around the box, and the team needs to create some chances for your striker, which is just general football in any way. So Lion says there needs to be some kind of lean way with offside and VAR, like the Champions League. There was a goal disallowed by a knee being an offside. Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks, but it goes both ways. You know, you might benefit from it at one point, but it kind of kills the game in an aspect. I don't know how you really sort that out, but Lyle says, put Xerxes on with Højlund and watch him score. When Xerxes plays the 10, he looks for players better than anyone currently. You know what? You know, that would probably be a very interesting dynamic to see. Have we played like that once yet? Have we played like Xerxes in behind Rasmus and have Rasmus as the striker? Have we done that yet? Lion says Iceland is isolated, Greenland is isolated, and Højlund is isolated. Well, I just don't think that, you know, today Rasmus's job, based off of the way the team was playing, was to hold the ball up, you know, battle it out with the center back, win 50-50 balls, and get the ball, hold up to it, and do link-up play. But that's clearly not his strong suit as a striker. So that's where I question Ruben Amorim. Like, you know, if we were going to play in the manner we played today, which was like long balls, you know, we weren't going to be as high up the pitch. We weren't going to be as direct as we want to be or we should be. And I just question as to why you were starting Rasmus Højlund over Xerxes, because obviously the way we were playing today suited Xerxes way better than Rasmus. There wasn't a lot of space. I mean, we tried a couple long balls, but there wasn't the space for the long balls over the top. We weren't getting in good positions, and we weren't executing that. So, you know, but he did end up changing it. So, breaking, Rasmus Højlund will enter the Royal Rumble after Triple H being impressed. Well, listen, you know, the people criticize him for that, Grace, and say that he's a WWE star. But you know, I think it's a little bit rough. You know, he's showing strength and he's trying to battle it out with the center backs. It's just not working up. It's not working out for him because the first touches aren't good. And he's not doing good to control the ball. But you know, he's showing some strength. He's battling it out. I want to see some toughness from the striker when he's in that position. I don't want to see him being a softie. So he gets into these grappling positions, right? I think actually a lot of times very unfair because I think he's being fouled most of the time, and he's not getting fouls called for him. So, Grace says 352. Lion says, I hope not, but Trump does have that kind of reputation. He's talking about Trump will invade Højlund. Well, he is coming. Let's finish the player ratings. Lenny Yoro, I give him a 6. Kobe, I said Kobe. Toby, Collier, you know what? I'll give him a 7 as well. Just for the sole fact that I would probably give him a 6.5 for coming on and bringing, you know, what he brought to the game in the short period of time that he came on, but he came in and added to the game, but he had the defensive clearing action and it did save us the 3 points. So I got to up it by another half. So I'm going to give him a 7 for sure. Richard says Toby gets a solid 7. And he does. Kobe, just average 6 for coming in, doing what he had to do. Tyrell Malacia, average 6 as well, late sub. And Joshua Xerxes, I'd probably give him a 6 as well. I think he did all right. Wasn't, you know, didn't impact the game immensely, but he did a little bit better with just holding up the ball. You know, it is what it is. And I'm going to be honest, for today, I probably give... you know what? I would probably give... it's difficult. I kind of want to give Ruben Amorim a 5.5 today, but it's tough to do that when you ended up winning the match, and I think he tried to manage the game. But again, I just think that from his standpoint, the setup of the way we went out to play wasn't good, and I think some of the things that he decided to try and do didn't necessarily work. And I put that on him today, and I think he'll fairly accept that as well. I don't think he's going to hide from that in any aspect. And it's not really, I don't think it's been a reoccurring theme. I just think today, certainly it was certain things that he went with that didn't work. But again, then, you know, he did do the manager duties in trying to change the game. He made, you know, decently early substitutions. I think the substitutions he made were good. I think the personnel were correct. You know, in terms of the players he put on and where he put them on and, you know, what he did with that. So I think it's a little bit rough to give him a below average score when we ended up winning the match. And, you know, it was all right. So, you know, what would you guys, because you guys give the player ratings. What do you give our manager today? What do you give Ruben Amorim? What kind of score do you give Ruben Amorim? Because I'm actually interested in to know what you guys think in that aspect, because maybe I'm leaning too much into, um, you know, what maybe I'm leaning too much into what I put on Ruben Amorim and not enough on the players, or maybe I am correct in what I'm saying. Richard says 6 for Kobe. Lion says, by the way, Bruno was man of the match. Are you trolling us? Lions, are you trolling us? Richard says Xerxes gets a 5.5. Grace says, comment down below, favorite holiday abroad and why. There we go. Yeah, we're about to do that anyway, but I just want to know what Ruben Amorim. I'm waiting for you guys to give me scores for Ruben Amorim, because I just want to see where we are. Lion says holiday abroad. I've actually never been abroad for holiday, just to live. Well, if you've never been somewhere abroad for holiday, then add in a place that you would love to go. If you had the opportunity to take a holiday, just put in a place where that would be. If you had the opportunity to take a holiday, where would you love to go? Richard says 5.5 for Amorim, I'm guessing. Lion says 1 million. So plus $1 million for Amorim. Grace says 5, but he gets a 6 for being cute. Well, I can't do that. But fair play to Grace. She's allowed to give these scores. I'm not doing that. Axe says Amorim gets a 2. Get him out. Well, I figured that as much. Yeah. I think I'll give him a 6. I've criticized him. I had some criticism for him, but again, I don't think it was like horrible. I just would have done things probably a little differently, and I think he tried to do some things that didn't necessarily help the team in that aspect. So, man of the match, I'm actually gonna give it Joint today. I am gonna give it Joint. People might not like that, but I'm gonna give it Joint because I think Lisandro, I think his action was important. He obviously scored the goal, which helped us to win. But I also think Toby Collier, if he's not there, if he's not on that line, if he's not, alert, and he doesn't clear that ball, we definitely 100% concede, and therefore Lisandro's goal, is pretty much non-existent, doesn't work. And yeah, so I think both of them, both their actions, they've helped us. Yeah. Gray says it must be a Portuguese thing apart from Bruno because his ears ain't doing it for me. Richard says Toby and Martinez. Yeah. I'll give him a Joint. I don't really like to give Joint, but I think today there's an argument for Joint as well. So, listen, guys, we're gonna get out of here. You guys have been fantastic with the support once again. Again, I'm gonna ask you guys to continue to help the channel out and do what you need to do and get the comments after I end the show. And Grace has chosen the secret comment, which is favorite place to go on holiday, or if you haven't been on holiday, a place that you would love to go on holiday. That's the secret comment under your footballing comment. Put on an opinion about the current state of Manchester United. It doesn't have to be about today's match. It can be about today's match if you want it to be. You can make it about the Glazers. You can make it about Ineos. You can make it about Ruben Amorim. You can make it about whatever you want to make it about. Give us a footballing opinion of some sort about Manchester United, and then give us the secret comment as the PS underneath. Thank you guys for supporting the match. Just before we get out of here, I just want to update you guys on the schedule. So I'm going to be obviously working again. We're working late for the time being now, so I won't be able to do the shows during the week. So we're kind of going back to that schedule. So it's going to be a little bit quiet from my end on that part, unless I get a surprise day or something, which then obviously you will get a surprise stream. So what this means is that the match on Thursday against I don't even know what they're called, but FC SB, I won't be able to do a Red Devil recap as of right now because I just won't be around for the timing doesn't work out. But where we will be able to go live is Sunday. We're playing Palace. We're home, so we'll be able to do the Red Devil recap for that. And the best I could probably do is no, Saturday doesn't work either because I get home late as well. Yeah, so as of right now, just for now, the Red Devil recap on Sunday is what you're most likely going to get from us. And another update I got to give you is that obviously, you know, we want to get the call-in show. That's going to be a little bit delayed until I have time to actually work on it. But what we are working on behind the scenes is because we're going to get the membership aspect of the channel going. So right now we are creating emblems and badges for the membership part of the community. And we are also creating emojis for the channel as well. So the emojis is being created, and we're gonna have emojis on the channel that we're gonna be able to use and stuff like that. So that's still being worked on in the background, and that's coming soon. And then the Discord and the call-in, I gotta push it back because I just don't have enough time to set up, because the thing is, like, I have it there. There's a couple small things I need to add, like just like little groups and stuff, which is not a big deal. That doesn't take long. But what I need to do is I need to test it. So when we do the call-in, I need to test the call-in. And I just don't have the time to do that because the person that I'm gonna have help me test it, our schedules don't line up. So when I get home, they're going to work, and when I go to work, they're home. So it can't work out right now. So I can't test it. So once I get it to test it, then we'll run it live. So probably another couple weeks or so. But I'll keep you guys updated on that. But cheers to all of you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'm gonna make some food, watch some NFL playoffs, because we got that going on in America. Remember, get in the comments after I end the show, which is about to be right now. Give us your football opinion, and then give us the secret opinion, which is obviously favorite place to take a holiday. Grace says NFL. Ew, I know. Listen. We grew up with it, so we like it, but it's not accustomed to your guys' traditions over there in the UK. Even though there are some people in the UK and Europe that they like the NFL, but you know, I get it. It's not a sport for everybody. You kind of got to be born and grown into it in the culture, you know. So, Ray, thank you as well. Shout out to all of you. You're all legends. Ray, Grace, Axe, Lyle, Richard, all of you, everybody that gets involved. Shout out to anybody that's new. Shout out to Noah Theodos as well. He was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but shout out to him. And just shout out to the chat, shout out to the community, and shout out to anybody that subscribed. I really got to fix that thing because it updated. We have 2,900. Okay, very good. We got to 2,900 subscribers. I just realized that it updated by itself. So that's good. Road to 3,000. We're 100 away. We'll get there, I'm sure. Slowly but surely. But let's go. And Grace says, I know nothing about the wannabe rugby you play over there. Well, fair enough. We'll speak very, very soon. Everybody enjoy. Be good. Take care of yourselves. Thank you again for the support. Remember, get in the comments. Ending the stream right now. Get in the comments. You guys have been fantastic with that. Loving the comments. Lions has been on fire as well. Richard had a very good one as well. So the battle is going on there for who's making the best comments after the stream as well. Lions has been absolutely just spinning them into fantastic stories. Been on fire with them. So I'm looking forward to seeing them and reading them. I enjoy them very much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Be good. We'll see each other a week from now on Sunday.